from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Pleasant day and a warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini ChannelEye. We're ready to bring you the top stories here at home and around the world. I'm Charita Vinipurarachi, together with Sharifa Tahir. Treasury allocates provisions for local government elections. New secretaries for 8 ministries. Pause for the flash floods in Kandy are congestions in waterways and illegal constructions. Electricity tariffs will increase from January. Attorney General approves the coal tender. USAID directs financial assistance for low-income earning farmer families. China opens borders for inbound tourists from January. On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story. Election Commissioner General Sri Ratnayaka says the Treasury has allocated provisions to conduct local government elections. He made these remarks to the media following a conference held in Nuwara. Election Commissioner General Sri Ratnayaka said that the department was able to conduct the elections amidst various challenges, including the war and COVID-19 pandemic. He said that upon the need to conduct an election, they prepared the relevant budget and request for provisions from the government. Accordingly, he said that they have requested 10 billion rupees in 2022 and another 11 billion rupees in 2023. He added that 10 billion rupees have been allocated during the last budget. Meanwhile, Patriotic United National Party has submitted a complaint to the Elections Commission today requesting to hold the elections considering the economic difficulties prevailing in the country at present. And intellectuals and experts have pointed out that the cause for the flash floods occurred in Kandy and Akuruna areas after several decades is a blocking of waterways and illegal constructions.
Allegations have been levelled, claiming that even though previous reports have indicated on how to overcome such impediments in several occasions, but the officials have not taken appropriate measures in this regard. Kandy city sits on a plateau surrounded by mountains. The rainwater streamed down the Udabatta Kalla and Asgiriya sides as the Hantana areas are connected to the Mahavali River. These streams triggered from heavy showers get connected to the Mahavali River through Madala in Gatambe and Mahayava in Katugastota. With the heavy congestion which occurs in these two waterways due to various obstacles, the Kandy city sustained heavy damages following the heavy rains occurred on the 25th. Inadequate coordination among various projects implemented surrounding the Kandy city is another cause for the disaster situation which occurred on the Christmas Day. The residents in the Kandy city limits who suffered damages from flash floods claim that the Madala and other related drainages have been blocked in several places due to illegal constructions. They have pointed out the need for an efficient mechanism to prevent such severe flash floods in future. They also said that the state officials were reminded and requested to take necessary actions in this regard during previous occasions to avoid such occurrences. Meanwhile, it has been revealed that the flood situation which occurred in the Akuruna town following the overflowing of the Pingawaya has been due to illegal constructions. Professor Tilak Vijayatunga of the University of Peradeniya said that this was revealed during a study conducted in this regard. It has been observed that Pingawaya has been congested into a canal in several places, while in some other places it has been further narrowed into a drain. Central Provincial Governor Lalitha Ugamage said that the state officials have been posed with the challenge to identify documents related to various flood-affected institutions, including Provincial Education Department and the Technology Institute, and issue relevant copies.
Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara says the electricity tariffs will be increased from next month. He added that the relevant cabinet paper will be tabled on the 2nd of January. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that if the electricity tariffs are not increased as per the requirements listed by the Ceylon Electricity Board, extended power cuts will have to be imposed. Minister Wijesekara said that the electricity tariff cited by CEB will have to be imposed to keep the daily power interruptions at a minimum. The minister said that the price hike was proposed to generate the required amount of electricity and not to make the future losses occurred by the CEB thus far. He said that if the tariffs were being increased to recover CEB's losses, it would have to be increased by much higher percentage. He added that the daily power cuts would have to be increased to at least 6 hours if the electricity tariffs are not increased.
දීර්ඝ කාලයක් තිස්සේ විවිධ ප්‍රතිපත්ති වෙනස් වෙච්ච නිසා ඒ නිසා අපේ විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ ධාරිතා වැඩි කරගන්න කටයුතු කරලා නැහැ.
It was revealed that a total of 3 billion rupees are to be charged from state buildings. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that all government institutions including hospitals, army camps, security units and educational centres are expected to pay around 3 billion rupees for the electricity supply. The minister said that 7 coal shipments are expected to arrive in January. Minister Wijesekara said that 3 shipments of coal are scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka on January 5th, 9th and 16th. He said that the Unit 2 at the Narachole was shut down last week in an effort to manage the existing coal stocks and for routine maintenance. The minister said that the power plant officials assured the existing coal stocks are sufficient until the January 8th. He also reviews claims that the government failed to commence the procurement procedure on time and said that the procurement of new coal shipments was delayed due to various other reasons. The minister said that the government is expecting to maintain the power interruptions to 2 hours and 20 minutes despite the delays in arrival of coal shipments.
Department of Immigration and Emigration, according to a report submitted to the Parliament, has received 5,401 applications to obtain dual citizenship. The majority of the applications have been received from Australia, amounting to 1,621. A total of 885 applications have been received from the United Kingdom for dual citizenship. In the meantime, 795 have been submitted requests from the United States, while 371 from Canada and several other requests have been received from Italy, Switzerland, Sweden, New Zealand, France and Denmark. The Immigration and Emigration Department has issued 382,560 passports in 2021. The number of diplomatic passports issued in 2021 is 398, which is a significant increase compared to 2020. The department has further indicated that 209,411 passports were issued in 2020, while the number of diplomatic passports issued is 175. The audit report released for the year 2021 has revealed that the impact of the decisions taken without proper financial assessment when formulating plans for the present and future challenges of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation will negatively reflect on the existence of the institution as well as for the public welfare. In addition, the report has indicated that a risk prevails over the disruptions on the island-wide fuel supply due to the failure to update the fuel storing and distributing process.
And meanwhile, in 2021, the CPC has spent over $346 million for the overall fuel imports, and the CPC has facilitated over 85% of the local fuel demand. Following the closure of Sapukaskanda refinery in 2021, the refinery production as a whole had dropped to 24.7%, while the refined fuel products import had increased up to 75%. Ceylon Electricity Board and Sri Lankan Airlines have outstanding up to 83,031 billion rupees and 62,111 million rupees respectively. A special audit was conducted to identify the problematic situation which may arise in the fuel sector, failing to proceed with necessary infrastructure facilities to match the increase in demand in the country. The report has prevailed that under certain circumstances, if the fuel vessels delay beyond the observed time frames, a risk prevails over the disruptions of the island-wide fuel supply. The report has had that an adverse situation may occur due to the failure to establish a sufficient fuel storage system and affiliated transportation facilities, among other infrastructure requirements. The report has further indicated that despite the price hike in local fuel products with the prevailing economic crisis in the country, the CPC has continued to pay commissions for distributions without considering the caps placed due to negligence. Accordingly, the CPC, despite the decisions taken by the Director Board, has managed over 6,500 million rupees in commission by September 15, 2022. Furthermore, the CPC has paid 98.6 million as commissions despite the set amount 30.7 million rupees on daily basis. Also, the report has indicated that the overtime payments, bonus and other allowances have been observed as 4 times the amount allocated for employees' salary capital.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has reshuffled the secretaries of the 8 ministries with effect from January 1st, 2023 and extended the tenure of the secretaries of 3 ministries for a further year. Accordingly, MMPK Mayadunne has been appointed as a secretary to the Ministry of Transport and Highways. HKDWMNB Hapuhinna has been appointed as a secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government. K. Mahesan has been appointed as a secretary to the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. M. Yamuna Pereira has been appointed to the post of secretary to the Ministry of Women, Child Affairs and Social Empowerment. N.M. Naimuddin has been appointed as a secretary to the Ministry of Investment Promotion. P.V. Gunathilaka has been appointed to the Ministry of Public Security. AMPMB Attapattu has been appointed as a secretary to the Ministry of Trade, Commerce and Food Security. RMS Samara Divakara has been appointed as the secretary to the Ministry of Tourism and Lands. The tenure of the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, Prison Affairs and Constitutional Reform, the Secretary to the Ministry of Education and the Secretary to the Ministry of Irrigation has been extended for 1 year. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed Chief Secretaries for Western and Sabaragamu provinces. Accordingly, Mahinda Sanath Veerasurya has been appointed to the Sabaragamu province, while Pradeep Yasaratna has been named for the Western province. The appointments will come into effect from the 1st of January next year.
Sri Lanka has ranked among the 7 to 10 countries with the highest food price inflation in the world. Accordingly, the latest world rank assessments, the country's nominal flood inflation was 74%. Domestic food price inflation remains high around the world. Information between August to November 2022 shows high inflation in almost all low-income and middle-income countries. The countries affected most are in Africa, North America, Latin America, South Asia, Europe and Central Asia. According to the report, the Zimbabwe, Lebanon, Venezuela, Turkey, Argentina and Iran ranked among the first 6 countries in the assessment, while Rwanda, Suriname and Hungary ranked behind Sri Lanka. Nearly 1/3 of the households are facing insufficient food consumption. In December 2022, the prevalence of insufficient food consumption, poor and borderline food consumption score in Sri Lanka was 30.99%. The 2022 Global Hunger Index indicates that the overlapping crises have exposed the weaknesses of the food system, and the global propagates against hunger and largely stagnated in recent years. According to the report, the impacts of ongoing regional conflicts, climatic change, COVID-19, the war in Ukraine, supply chain disruptions and high and volatile food, fertilizer and fuel prices have drastically weakened the world's already inadequate, unsustainable food systems. As a result, the world is experiencing the 3rd global food crisis in less than 2 decades. The regions with the highest score in the index are South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, which are considered to be serious. The final draft of the National Agriculture Policy has been formulated. An expert committee comprising members representing all sectors was appointed recently in this regard. A meeting between the expert committee and the minister was held at the Agriculture Ministry this morning. It was revealed during the meeting that the draft agriculture policy has been formulated as a permanent policy with the inputs from the relevant sectors, which will not change based on neither the minister nor the government. The final draft bill has been presented to the Parliament for approval, and the inputs obtained from the parliamentarians have also been included into the National Agriculture Policy. It has been initiated based on resolution presented by Minister Mahinda Amaravira.
In the meantime, Foreign Employment Bureau of Sri Lanka in an announcement today said that the investigations have confirmed various accounts of women being used for employments through illegal means while violating the Act of the Bureau. Accounts of human trafficking have also been revealed through the investigation. The Criminal Investigation Department is expected to take further action in this regard. These accounts have been revealed from a report regarding a special investigation conducted over the women detained at the Suraksha safe house of the Sri Lankan Embassy in Oman. Legal action will be taken against the relevant parties involved in the violation of the Bureau Act and engaging in human trafficking. The officers attached to the Special Investigation Unit of the Bureau had recorded statements from 84 women detained at the Suraksha safe house in Oman. The announcement has further indicated that suspects related to the incidents have also been identified. The investigation officers of the Foreign Employment Bureau together with CID officials are expected to produce the suspects to the courts. The officers attached to the Special Investigation Unit and the CID left for Oman to conduct the investigations under the instructions of Minister Manushananya Kara.
The coconut and king coconut cultivations in Kegel district have been threatened by a wildfire menace. The cultivations have claimed that they have been suffering from the threat for close to 10 months at present. It has been revealed that no favorable outcome has derived even after the relevant institutions, including the Coconut Research Institute, have been informed regarding the issue. The cultivators have said that a whitefly species inflict damage to the bottom side of the coconut and its leaves. They have claimed that even though the Coconut Development Board officials have provided necessary instructions to prevent the further spread of the whitefly species, the small-scale cultivators are deprived of the ability to implement such measures. The cultivators have further indicated that all coconut and king coconut cultivations in their areas are endangered due to the whitefly menace.
Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva instructed relevant authorities today to expedite the expansion of the Jaya terminal of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The minister issued these instructions following an observation tour at the terminal. The Jaya terminal is the oldest terminal wholly owned by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The expansion project is carried out by a Chinese company. However, a delay has been observed pertaining to the expansion activities of the terminal. Accordingly, the minister summoned the representatives of the company and instructed them to complete the relevant tasks according to contractually agreed schedules. Following the expansion project, two 360 meters long vessels can be anchored at the terminal simultaneously. At present, the terminal operates around 2 million containers within a year. Following the development project, the terminal will be able to operate another 1 million containers annually.
Aragale activists Danesh Ali and Anuradha Bandara were summoned to the Criminal Investigation Department. They have been summoned to probe the alleged arson attack on the private residence belonging to President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
United States Agency for International Development has decided to extend a subsidy for low-income rice farming families in 7 districts of the country. Accordingly, subsidy worth 15,000 rupees will be provided for each family under the assistance. Livelihood development of the low-income rice farming families is the objective of this program. Accordingly, the allowance will be given to farming families living in the districts of Jaffna, Mullaitivu, Mannar, Trincomalee, Vavuniya, Munaragala and Batticaloa, whose monthly income is less than 41,500 rupees, as per the Ministry of Agriculture. The Commissioner General of the Department of Agricultural Development said that this assistance will be extended in 2 installments from the month of January. Also, the Asian Development Bank has arranged to extend an amount of 8 billion rupees to 1.2 million farming families in the island. Under the first phase, arrangements have been made to credit 4 billion rupees to the respective farmers' accounts before the end of this month, according to the Ministry of Agriculture. The rest of the funds will be credited to the accounts in the upcoming months. All these international aids were given as free grants to the farmers of the country, the ministry added.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs conducted an orientation program recently for 14 newly designated heads of the Sri Lanka missions abroad and 2 heads of post WHO who directly appointed the President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Those appointed are due to assume duty shortly. The Foreign Ministry welcomes the appointment of a large number of career diplomats as heads of mission. 12 of the new heads of mission designate and 1 head of the post are members of the Sri Lanka Foreign Service. The orientation program was inaugurated by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri, who highlighted the current priorities for Sri Lanka mission and foreign policy challenges. Foreign Secretary Aruni Vijayawardene emphasized on the leadership role of the heads of mission in achieving the goals and objectives of the country. The orientation program included discussions of economic, political, security, cultural and consular matters and field visits to the northern province as well as other government entities. The ambassador-designate presented their strategies for the term of office as a panel discussion attended by Foreign Minister Ali Sabri, State Minister of Foreign Affairs Taraka Balasuriya and Foreign Secretary Aruni Vijayawardene. The heads of mission designated paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and will pay a courtesy call on President Ranil Wickremesinghe in due course.
Minister Mahinda Amarabira says irregularities in the fertilizer distribution will be examined and necessary legal measures will be taken in this regard. He pointed out that fertilizer has been distributed across the country for the upcoming Maha season without a shortage at present. The minister visited Vattala area this morning to observe the fertilizer distribution process. He also inspected the commercial fertilizer company and Lakpohora company in Hunipitiya during the visit. The minister added that since fertilizer companies possess sufficient consignments of fertilizer, if there is a delay in the distribution process, then it is due to the shortcomings of the officials. Well, that's it on Local Stories. We'll be back with news overseas. Do stay tuned in.
Katumi, Fantamai.
Welcome back with international news. And China officials say that measures will be taken to scrap quarantine for travelers from 8th January, marking the last major shift from the country's zero-COVID policy. After almost 3 years of closed borders, this will reopen the country to those with work and study visas or seeking to visit family. Chinese citizens will also be able to travel overseas, the immigration authorities said on Tuesday. COVID has spread ferociously in the wake of restrictions being lifted. Reports have said that hospitals are overwhelmed and elderly people are dying. The true toll, daily case counts and deaths is currently unknown because officials have stopped releasing COVID data. Beijing had reported about 4,000 new COVID infections each day last week and few deaths. British health data firm Affinity estimated China was experiencing more than 1 million infections and 5,000 deaths a day. China's management of COVID-19 will also be downgraded to the less restricted category B from the current top-level category A. The health authority said in a statement yesterday. It said that the reasons for the decision was that the virus has become less virulent and COVID-19 would gradually evolve into a common respiratory infection. Arrangements for foreigners to come to China, such as for work and business, will be improved and the necessary visas will also be facilitated, the authority said. Passenger entry and exit sea levels and ports will gradually resume, while the outbound travel for the Chinese nationals will also be restored in an orderly manner. While China downgrades its management of the new coronavirus, the National Health Commission said epidemic prevention and control protocols at the key institutions such as elderly care institutions will be strengthened. China will also further increase the vaccination rate among the elderly and promote second doses among the people at high risk for several illnesses.
At least 28 people have died in western New York State, most of them in Buffalo, as a monster winter storm continues to batter North America. A state official said some people have been trapped in cars for more than 2 days during what was probably the worst storm of a lifetime. But up to 9 more inches of snow are expected in parts of the state, so Tuesday meteorologists warn. The storm stretching from Canada to the Mexican border has killed 56 people. United States President Joe Biden approved an emergency declaration allowing federal support for New York State. Local medical examiner's office reports that many of the victims had died from heart problems while shoveling or blowing snow. Some were found dead in their vehicles. State Governor Kathy Herschel said that many emergency vehicles had been unable to reach worst-hit areas or had got stuck in snow themselves. One local family with young children had to wait for 11 hours before being rescued in the early hours of Christmas Day. More victims are expected to be discovered once melting snowdrifts reveal trapped vehicles and allow access to remote homes. The bomb cyclone winter storm, which occurs when atmospheric pressure plummets, causing heavy snow and winds, has disrupted travel across the United States. Over the weekend, an estimated 250,000 homes and businesses experienced blackouts, although power has been steadily restored. Storm-related deaths were also reported in Vermont, Ohio, Missouri, Wisconsin, Kansas and Colorado. South Florida's temperatures dropped so low that iguanas froze and fell from trees.
Meanwhile, a Ukrainian drone attack on an airbase for bombers in southern Russia has left 3 people dead, Moscow says.
Ukraine's foreign minister says he plans to have a
Russian defense minister says that air defenses shot down the drone near the Engels base, but falling debris fatally wounded 3 technical staff, they said. Earlier this month, Russia accused Ukraine of a similar attack on the airfield home to bombers that have carried out missile attacks on Ukraine. The base lies about 650 kilometers northeast of Ukraine's border. The Ukrainian military did not officially admit to the latest attack, but Air Force spokesman Yuri Hinat said that the explosions were the result of what Russia was doing on Ukrainian soil. Hours afterwards, Russia's Federal Security Service announced it had killed a 4-strong sabotage group trying to enter the Russian border region of the Bryansk from Ukraine armed with improvised explosive devices and German-made submachine guns. The FSB released a video of what it said was the liquidation of the group, although there is no independent confirmation on the incident. The latest drone attack inside Russia will come as an embarrassment to Russian authorities, coming so soon after the 2 December attacks hundreds of kilometers from the front line, both at the Engels base and in the Ryazan region. At the time, Russia also blamed falling debris for the deaths of 3 servicemen and what it described as light damage to 2 aircraft. The Ukrainian Air Force spokesman said satellite imagery of the airfield would soon reveal the full damage from the attack, adding that earlier blasts had damaged aircraft at the base. The Engels Air Base has been repeatedly used by Russia to carry out missile strikes on various targets in Ukraine since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion.
Prima Katumi Fantamai.
Welcome back with your sports update, and it's cricket. David Warner became the 2nd cricketer in the world to score a double century in his 100th career test match, and he was managed to set this record in his 2nd day of the 2nd test match against South Africa. And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita signing off with Sharifa. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.